Coming up in today's vlog on the River Trent, Jan makes her feelings known as we narrowly avoid getting sideswiped by two cruisers coming at us at speed. We find out about the history of Newark Castle. It once belonged to King John, and it was here that he died in 1216 after his infamous surfeit of peaches. In other words, he was a bit greedy. And Tony explains how the pontoons on the Trent could save your life. These big girders, metal girders at the side, that is so that you can rise up and down if, as has happened several times, the River Trent goes into flood and you find yourself rising a little bit, then you won't be caught out. Hello and welcome to this week's vlog.
Hiya.
So where are we off to, Jan?
We're off to Newark.
Newark?
Yeah.
And what can we see in Newark?
Well, it's Newark Castle.
Newark Castle, that'll do for a start, that'll do. What's left of it?
I don't know until I get there. I haven't been there.
I don't think there's a lot of Newark Castle left,
no,
to be honest, is there?
We know a couple that's getting married there.
Oh,
in
yes.
the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you can get married there, apparently. There's like a registry, not a registry office, but there's like a little canopied area that you can get married in. It's a lovely place.
It's in the castle grounds, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a nice spot. There's not much left of it, I don't think, but there's not that nice imposing wall as you go past the river, so we should be able to spot that.
I've just got to apologise if you can hear bubbling. I'm boiling some eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Just doing some cooking. Yeah, you've said, you'd like to see us a bit more in the boat, so that's where we are at the moment, rather than, I'll stand back. Looked a bit dangerous there with that knife. The great thing about being on this part of the Trent, the River Trent, is that you moor up at pontoons. I think there are a couple of lockside moorings that you can take, but all in all the way down here, these are all pontoon moorings. And the great thing about these pontoon moorings is that they go up and down. They're nice and easy to moor to.
They're wide.
Yeah, they're nice and wide.
I love them.
Take quite a few boats. They allow you to get off the boat and visit wherever you happen to be moored next to or close by, and they do provide some protection against the river. I'll explain more in a second. Well, here we are at Fiskerton, and like many places on the River Trent, you'll find that you'll be moored to a pontoon like this one. The beauty of being moored to this particular pontoon, or a pontoon similar to this, is that you'll notice these big girders, metal girders at the side. That is so that you can rise up and down. So if, as has happened several times, the River Trent goes into flood and you find yourself rising a little bit, then you won't be caught out. You will rise up completely with your pontoon. Now, originally, of course, these pontoons weren't here, and boats would be moored to the giant rings that you can see affixed to the wall. That's because there's a grain store. It's not been used for quite a few years, as you can imagine, but the crane does still exist. And up until the 1950s, there was a ferry that would take you from Fiskerton here over to the other side of the river. The other thing as well is to remember, and we're not doing the definitive guide to the River Trent, we've given you some tips and hints and things like that. Best place to go for resources is Trent Link. That's a Facebook group, so if you do nothing else on Facebook but join that group, that'll be the best thing you've ever done. Especially if you're a boater and you're thinking of doing the tidal Trent. As it is a river, it has a natural flow from the head. That flow obviously is determined by rainfall. We've had quite a few days, weeks of rain, so the flow at the moment going downstream is quite significant, hence the reason why we're facing actually the wrong way. That's the best way to moor up. When the river flow meets the tide coming the other way, you get, as you've probably seen on the River Severn, which is called the Bore, you'll get a similar sort of thing happening here on the River Trent. It doesn't happen as often, and it's got its own name. I'll put its name down below. Right, well, we're leaving Fiskerton. Nice little moorings. Coronation weekend. Well, Coronation Friday and Saturday. It's now the Sunday. The weather is supposed to be improving. We're supposed to get one nice day of sunshine this week, being today, and then rain. So that's why we're moving. And hopefully we can find a mooring in Newark. Thanks to some fellow boaters, we've been given the heads up about moorings in Newark and where they are. The actual Canal and River Trust pontoon is right at the end of the town, and the trouble is, if you wait until you get there to try and find a mooring and there isn't one available, you're going to have to go all the way out of the town and then turn round. The reason being is because when we get a little bit further up here, the River Trent itself will veer off. There'll be a weir on our port side, on our left, where the river will bypass Newark town, a bit like it did at Beeston, and will reach the River Trent Newark arm, I think that's what it's called, at the other side of Newark. So the bit that goes through Newark is actually narrower, not quite as wide as the river we're on at the moment, which makes turning round slightly tricky. We also need to empty the Elsan. There are precious few Elsan and water points on this particular part of the Trent. Don't know why that is. There should be one at every lock, to be perfectly honest, but there isn't. Once we get into Newark, that's our last chance basically, until we get out off the tidal Trent and on towards the canal that takes us to Lincoln and Boston, which is where we're heading to. It won't be in this vlog, I don't think, but yeah, finding facilities, you've got to do your homework. As I said earlier, this is not necessarily a how-to vlog or video. It's just our findings and our experiences. And our experience so far is that if you've got a cassette toilet, you will need to plan where you're going to empty them, or at least have a couple of spares. You also need to worry about water as well. Now, there are 3 marinas in Newark. One of them we should be able to get, well, we need some diesel anyway. The advice is to don't go onto the tidal Trent unless you've got a full tank of diesel. Well, we'll make sure that our tank is full, because we'll pop into one of the marinas and get topped up there. Yeah. We've got some diesel, emptied the Elsan and filled up with water here at Newark Marina. Nice people. There's a nice marina, well run, very efficient. Just got a new pump out machine, so if you need pumping out, Newark Marina's the place. Got a nice chandlery. We've managed to pick up the proper Trent guide for the tidal Trent and met one of the guys who wrote the original copy, so he's given us some pointers about what to look out for. That will be my homework for this evening. And I suggest if you're going to do it, then you do the same thing. I'll put some links, as usual. I'll put some links down below in the description as to where you can get it from. You can get it from marinas around here. I think you can get it from Nottingham Marina before you get down here. If you're planning it with months ahead there and you've got an address or somewhere to post it, then by all means order it online and get it that way, then you know you've got it beforehand. You can't get it from the locks as you come down the non-tidal Trent, because the lock keepers are not allowed to handle money or do financial transactions of any kind. That's what we were told, so make sure you've got it beforehand. I think the only lock you can actually get it from is Cromwell Lock if you come in this way. And now we're going to play Hunt the Mooring. Just here at the lock, waiting for a boat to come up. They're not fast, these locks. A lot of water, that's usually why. And presumably you can see just the other side of the lock is Newark Castle. The largest gateway of any castle in England graces this largely 12th century fortress. Newark Castle once belonged to King John, and it was here that he died in 1216 after his infamous surfeit of peaches. In other words, he was a bit greedy. The town of Newark grew up around an important crossing of the River Trent, where the Fossway and the Great North Road converge. There was a fortified Saxon manor here at least as early as the 10th century, but the impressive stone castle you see today was built in 1133 by Bishop Alexander of Lincoln. The most famous event in the castle's long history came on the 19th of October 1216, when King John died here by the sin of gluttony. It was good propaganda that added to his unsavoury reputation. Other sources suggest he was poisoned, emphasising his reputation of being hated. The poor lad couldn't win. Modern historians, however, believe that he actually died of dysentery, and tradition is that he expired in the great gatehouse of the castle. There is no public access to the upper room where this is supposed to have happened, and in its ruinous state, the place where one of England's most reviled kings gasped his last exhausted breaths looks as bleak and forlorn as a death chamber can be. In the late 13th century, the castle defences were strengthened with a high curtain wall on the side of the River Trent. This wall is largely intact and gives Newark its imposing outlook. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the wall was pierced with large windows as the castle ceased to be a fortress and became more of a comfortable residence. During medieval times, goods were mainly delivered by water, and the Watergate can be seen at the base of the curtain wall, with its steps leading to a large cellar under the Bishop's Hall. The two towers would have contained prisons. In 1889, the Corporation of Newark opened a landscape public garden on the site of the castle's former courtyard in honour of Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee of 1887. Today, only 20% of the castle still stands. Now, under normal navigation movements, you would pass another boat port to port. However, here we're leaving the lock landing, so convention is that we carry on our straight manoeuvre, and the boat leaving the lock would pass us on our starboard side. Bearing in mind we're a 60-foot narrowboat that cannot manoeuvre as fast as this GRP Cruiser, it would take us much longer to reach the opposite side of the river to be able to pass in the standard port-to-port position. I signalled to him to make our intentions known to him. For some unknown reason, known only to him, the skipper of this particular cruiser decided to head straight for us. I was able to speed up just enough for him to pass on our port side, but as you could see, he made no attempt to slow down at all.
Thanks for watching this vlog, and next week, we're out on the tidal Trent.
So make sure you join us for that. In the meantime, don't forget a thumbs up for a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, it's totally free to do so, and then when you have subscribed, press that bell icon.
Ding!
Thank you, Jan, and YouTube will notify you next time we upload a vlog. Thank you all you patrons for supporting us. Thanks for everybody on Buy Me a Coffee, and all you subscribers, commenters and likers. We love you all. Take care. Happy cruising. Bye for now.
Bye!